This is CBS.
Good evening, I'm Kate Sullivan.
And I'm R.D. Saul. You saw what happened on stage at the Grammys. Let lifestyle specialist John Corcoran take you backstage.
Here at home, racial unrest stirs at another New England college. A music professor and a student newspaper are at the center of the storm.
And our top story tonight, 3 members of a family found dead in their Gardner home. The story next on Night Beat.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers. Coming up next, the New England News Night Beat.
Like Larry, Moe, and Curly. Fast cars and fancy shoes. Like Buffalo Bob and a lucky dog. And like cats who sing the blues. I'm an American original. The first draft beer in a can. Tapping ice cold pours with a friend of yours.
Brewery fresh draft beer in bottles and cans. That's been Coors for over 25 years. Taste the original today.
Put a 12-ounce keg in your hand.
I was a meat and potatoes guy 7 days a week. But that was before my wife and I discovered the incredible variety at the meat department at Stop and Shop. So now, on Mondays, I'm a stir-fried pork and rice guy. On Wednesdays, I'm a chicken parmesan and pasta guy. In fact, Stop and Shop's meat department has made my whole life a lot more exciting. Of course, on Sundays, I'm still a meat and potatoes guy. After all, you gotta keep a little tradition.
It's time to Stop and Shop.
Since the Johnsons got their Mitsubishi Mirage, they've been driving a lot more.
Nice car.
But who can blame them? With its sleek styling, roomy full-cloth interior, and its many features others don't offer.
Nice car.
And considering the Johnsons got their Mirage for just over $8,600...
Nice car.
They can spend more time and money in their car instead of on their car.
Once more around the block, Dad?
Mitsubishi. Suddenly, the obvious choice.
Channel 7, WNEV TV, Boston. Now, from Boston and all around New England, this is the New England News Night Beat.
Topping Night Beat tonight, the town of Gardner searches for answers in the deaths of 3 local residents. I'm Kate Sullivan.
And I'm R.D. Saul. The bodies of 3 people discovered in their home in Gardner. Our West Bureau reporter Mike Lawrence has been following the story this evening and joins us live from Gardner. Mike, what can you tell us?
R.T., the victims are identified as 46-year-old John Donahue, his older sister Ruth, 66, and his older brother George. Apparently all the result of a bizarre accident in the house that they shared. Worcester District Attorney John Conti says in tomorrow's editions of the Worcester Telegram that the apparent cause was exhaust fumes from a flue that had either fallen or been disconnected from a gas hot water heater, allowing carbon monoxide to fill this house. The bodies found earlier today by police and personnel director Red Riley, concerned when his co-worker John Donahue had not shown up for work in 2 days. Neighbors tell us the house had been unusually quiet for that long.
Well, usually during the day the shades were always open, and at night there were lights on. And since yesterday, or Monday rather, you know, we hadn't seen any activity. I came home from school last night about 8 o'clock, and the house was completely dark. We hadn't seen anything since Monday.
Everything looked normal. The people were in their regular resting places in bed. Obviously not alive.
The signs they had vomited, I understand?
Yes.
Which is potentially important to understand what had happened to them. No signs of any other problem?
No, the house was in perfect order.
At this point, we don't feel there was any foul play. It appears to be totally accidental. One of the primary possibilities at this point would be carbon monoxide poisoning from a defective or improperly operated furnace or heater.
One other element, a 4th resident of that house, Marie Donahue, had been rushed to Haywood Hospital here in Gardner on Sunday night suffering from an apparent heart attack. She's in stable condition tonight but can't be questioned. Authorities are considering the possibility that that's related to the carbon monoxide leak undetected at the time she was stricken that apparently went on to kill 3 of her relatives just hours later. Mike Lawrence, the New England News, reporting live in Gardner. RT and Kate.
Thank you, Mike. Preliminary autopsy results are expected tomorrow. Okay.
A major victory for Governor Dukakis tonight. In a 100-53 vote, the Massachusetts House passed a universal health care bill. Night Beat's Rahema Ellis has been standing by at the State House. And Rahema, did the bill go through a lot of changes before passing?
No, it didn't, Kate. In fact, it's pretty much intact, and that's one of the reasons supporters of the bill call what happened tonight an overwhelming victory. As you pointed out, the vote in the House tonight was 100-53 in favor of this universal health care bill.
A recurring question comes to pass the bill being grossed. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is passed being grossed.
Debate in the House had gone on for 3 days on this unprecedented legislation that would provide health care for some 600,000 Massachusetts workers who are currently uninsured. The bill would be fully implemented by 1992 at a cost of $332 million. Supporters note one amendment to the bill changes the businesses that would be exempt, but still, most workers will be covered.
The only businesses exempt are those who have fewer than 9 employees. There are stimuluses in there to entice businesses to buy the proper types of policies, but they will not be excluded. So everybody will be covered by their employer. If it's greater than a 9-person firm, less than that, the state will help the employee obtain the insurance.
Now, the bill moves on to the Senate.
The Senate should be taking it up within the next week or so. But I think we have to look at the small business exemptions. We have to look at who's exempted under the bill, the number of hours, the part-time, full-time issues, and those kinds of issues will take us a few days.
Republican opponents of the bill lobbied against it, charging that it's a payroll tax to small employers who can least afford it, and that it might push some of them out of business. Kate?
Rahima, it's less than a week away before Super Tuesday. What implications does the passage of this bill have on Dukakis's presidential campaign?
Well, it would look very good for the governor to be able to go into the South and say that he has got what Massachusetts has, what no other state in the country has, and that is a universal health care bill. Now that it's in the Senate, Senate President William Bolger has said he's in strong support of it, would like to give the governor a gift, but as some are pointing out, that might be the real Massachusetts miracle if he's able to do it.
All right, thank you, Rahima. Rahima Ellis standing by at the State House tonight. After the Senate votes on the health care bill, it still has to go to a Senate House Conference Committee so the differences in the two bills can be ironed out. Some say they don't expect that to happen before Super Tuesday.
Another New England college is in turmoil tonight because of charges of racism on campus. At Dartmouth College this evening, hundreds gathered to protest what they consider to be racial incidents on campus. Night Beat reporter Miles O'Brien is just back from Hanover, New Hampshire. And Miles, what caused the problem?
RD, it all started with this edition of the Dartmouth Review. 2 teachers, one white and one black, were criticized by a paper which relishes in controversy.
Where is that?
They pride themselves as rebels. They are publishers of the independent, ultra-conservative Dartmouth Review.
We don't back down, we never have, and we never will.
But there are many here who believe the Review staffers have gone too far. It began with an article criticizing black music professor William Cole, calling his course one of the most academically deficient on campus. Then on Thursday, 4 Review staffers came to Cole's classroom asking for a response. Fingers were pointed, voices raised. Some say they were shoving.
Some people viewed whatever happened in that classroom as being a racist attack.
I think the people that perceive this as being racist are either 1, misguided, or 2, malevolent.
It's not the first time Cole and the Dartmouth Review have been at odds. In 1983, the magazine published an article describing him as looking like a used Brillo pad. He sued, but later dropped the matter. And it's not the first time that Dartmouth Review staffers have been at the center of a racial controversy here. In 1986, they destroyed a mock shanty town which was protesting the school's investment policy on South Africa.
Wide spectrum of people are just tired of the type of stuff that they print.
What they print is now the subject of heated discussion all over this campus. Most everyone feels strongly.
I think they have the right to say what they want to say. I wish they wouldn't be so obnoxious about it.
And they're not into journalism, they're into public harassment of people.
They don't represent Dartmouth College, and I think that if anything, they shed a bad light on Dartmouth College.
Still, everyone believes there is racism at Dartmouth. One more place of higher learning grappling with the ignorance of prejudice.
This is not Dartmouth's problem anymore. It's gone national.
Chris Baldwin and the 3 other staffers involved in that confrontation now face charges of violating Dartmouth's code of conduct. They could be expelled. Their hearing is next Tuesday. Professor Cole will not talk until then. RD?
Thank you, Miles O'Brien, reporting tonight from our newsroom. Dartmouth's president says Friday there will be a meeting for the entire school to discuss and debate the recent racial incidents. Okay.
With Super Tuesday right around the corner, the governor is a very busy man. Some say the Duke is becoming a heavy hitter on many upcoming primary states. We'll tell you why.
The same cannot be said for the Celtics tonight. A tough night at the Garden. John Dennis, along with the dismal detail shortly. And, John.
Hi, I'm lifestyle specialist John Corcoran, live in New York, where it's Grammy night. The Grammys came back to New York along with a few surprises and some real highlights on the show. We'll tell you about the winners a little bit later on the New England News Night Beat.
The police have captured the infamous South Side sniper.
Christie's having one of those days.
Gentlemen! could you do that to Blaine?
Blaine who?
You! Former investigative reporter slays ex-husband in TV studio.
Here?
I have seen some lowlifes in my time in this business. You meet them all. You are the worst!
Kathleen Turner.
Good evening.
Burt Reynolds. Christopher Reeve. Switching channels. Rated PG.
Starts Friday. Check papers for theaters and times.
I've been waiting all day for this. If only I could find a man to make me feel this way.
Moisturizing foam bath and crystals from the Village Bath.
Some people will tell you that a smile is a little thing. But at Sheraton, it's a smile that says a lot. It's a smile that says, welcome to Sheraton. It's a smile that says, can I get you another cup of coffee? It says, would you like a few more towels? And it's a smile that says, thank you for staying at Sheraton. At Sheraton, we never forget that little things mean a lot.
Enter the world of Dirty Dancers, side-splitting sequels, and Grammy glamour on the next Entertainment Tonight. First, we're at home with Patrick Swayze to see how sudden fame has changed his life. Then, check out Dudley Moore and the hilarious new comedy, Arthur on the Rocks.
Oh, no. This is very tragic stuff.
Plus, it's your last chance to preview the superstar Grammy nominees on the next Entertainment Tonight.
Tonight, following Night Beat on WNEV Channel 7.
Within hours of opening their first summit talks in 6 years, NATO leaders declared that Soviet conventional forces cast a shadow over the whole of Europe and must be reduced sharply to ease the imbalance of East-West military strength. President Reagan and the 15 other NATO leaders gathered for a banquet in Brussels tonight, the host country for the summit. Earlier today, all the nations in the Western Alliance endorsed President Reagan's efforts to negotiate new reductions in nuclear arms and praised the INF Treaty. The president, meanwhile, vowing to spare no effort in the pursuit of peace, ordered Secretary of State George Shultz back to the Middle East for more talks with Arab and Israeli leaders. Shultz begins his shuttle diplomacy once again tomorrow.
News from the campaign trail tonight with Super Tuesday looming ever closer. Lawyers for Pat Robertson say the presidential candidate plans to drop his $35 million libel suit against former Congressman Pete McCloskey. Robertson's attorney says the trial date, which falls on Super Tuesday, makes it impossible for Robertson to pursue the case in federal court. McCloskey, however, accuses Robertson of chickening out and says he wants the former TV evangelist to pay his $400,000 in legal fees. The suit alleges McCloskey told people Robertson's father got his son out of combat duty during the Korean War. And with less than a week to go before the all-important primaries and caucuses on Super Tuesday, the candidates are making their way throughout the 20 states involved, doing their best to find supporters. Governor Michael Dukakis made a whirlwind tour of the Sunshine State. Our political specialist Joe Day tells us for the Duke, it was a hard-hitting day.
Michael Dukakis, on his way from Super Tuesday, Maryland to Super Tuesday, Texas, spends part of the day in Super Tuesday, Florida, with Eastern Airline workers in Miami who are fighting with management.
This is going to be a very, very important Tuesday primary. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't have the power to change things in this country, because you do. Because you do. We do.
Dukakis chooses his stops with care, and none could have been more successful than his first visit ever to the Red Sox training camp in Winter Haven.
Somebody asked me when I saw my first baseball game, the Red Sox, and it was either 1938 or 1939, and Lefty Grove was pitching, and Jimmy Fox was playing first base. And I was there in the stands. I went with my mother and brother. My mother didn't understand a thing that was going on. She said, kids, that's the first and last time I go. You're on your own from this point.
But this is pre-Super Tuesday 1988. And more, it looks as if Dukakis has a genuine shot to finish very well in, or perhaps even win, that important battle. And so tonight, Dukakis heads from Florida to Texas, a state that is, with Florida, one of the twin towers of his Super Tuesday strategy. Joe Day, the New England News Night Beat, Miami.
And, of course, Joe and the rest of the members of our political unit will continue to take you along the campaign trail with the candidates as we move toward March 8th, Super Tuesday. Okay?
And as we move towards the weekend, it's Wednesday, the week's half over. We're going to look and see what the weather is going to be like the rest of the week.
Yes, and there is definitely some snow in the forecast. But don't panic too much.
How much snow?
Well, that's why I tell you not to panic. But I'll tell you all about it when we come back with a full forecast.
Because sometimes the shortest distance between 2 points is not a line, TWA created the Advance Boarding Pass. TWA kept something in mind when we made our 747 business class seat the widest in the sky. People sometimes cross their legs. Today's TWA. Find out how good we really are.
When Bill Denby was in Vietnam, he dreamed of coming home and playing a little basketball. A dream that all but died when he lost both legs to a Viet Cong rocket. But then researchers discovered that a DuPont plastic could help make truly lifelike artificial limbs. Now Bill's back, and some say he hasn't lost a step. At DuPont, we make the things that make a difference. Better things for better living.
This pleasant dream was made possible by the Heavenly Decaf, chock full of nuts decaffeinated coffee. And just in case you oversleep, there's the heavenly taste of chock full of nuts in an instant.
Sooner or later, keeping the old car running just isn't worth it. Not when Chrysler, Plymouth, and Dodge dealers are offering up to $1,000 cash back on select imports and savings of hundreds more on specially equipped models. On Colt hatchbacks, Vista wagons, Ram 50 pickups, and Conquest TSIs. So instead of this, see your Chrysler, Plymouth, or Dodge dealers before these great import deals expire.
All right, snow, how much snow?
Oh, maybe, no, nothing like that. No.
You're evil. You're
I'm a
wicked.
very, very nasty guy. Very, very, very nasty. Anyway, I don't think the storm that's really going to be affecting us is going to be that nasty for us, even though it's causing some problems right now in other parts of the country. We'll get to all of that. In Boston, it's very mild now. There have been some sprinkles in the area. Our temperature in the low 40s, and the wind is out of the southwest. But it'll be switching to the northwest by morning, and slightly colder air will start to filter in. Barometer is on the way up. You know, when you get well north where there's still snow on the ground, like in Somersworth, New Hampshire, Randy Pelican, only 26 degrees. Skies there overcast. But you can see, for the most part, it is running around 40 degrees, and we do have the leading edge of cold air on the way. As it's been approaching, we've been seeing some rain showing up on radar. A lot of this is not reaching the ground. What is reaching the ground is very light, and this is not going to be much of anything tonight. But more important moisture developing in the middle of the country. Watch this blossom in the last 24 hours. And at the moment, there's a pretty impressive storm in this position with quite a swath of rain. Some very light rain is way out ahead of the system. Those are the sprinkles for tonight. But the main storm system is back in here. Before we deal with that, again, this cold front crosses the area by morning, and slightly colder air filters in tomorrow. But during the daylight hours of tomorrow, no weather problems whatsoever. I don't think it's going to be until roughly this time tomorrow night that this storm will start to affect us. By that time, it'll be in this position. We'll be near the northern fringe of it, snow up to or just above the Boston area for a while, late tomorrow night into early Friday. Then the storm should exit, and storm number 2 should stay south of us. So the most I can see is maybe a couple of inches on the south coast, some light snow in Boston, and nothing from southern New Hampshire on up. So here's the forecast. It goes this way. For the rest of tonight, just a couple of sprinkles scattered about. Temperatures will be cooling a little bit by dawn, 25 to 30 by then. Actually above freezing, though, in the city. For tomorrow, a little sun, especially north of Boston, then thickening clouds later, about 40. Late tomorrow night, look for a period of snow. It will turn colder in the 20s, so there may be some slippery going for the early commute on Friday. The steadiest snow Friday very early in the day, 32 to 36 degrees. And I think we'll be free of storminess for the most part after tomorrow night and early on Friday. Tom Chisholm will have a closer look for you tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you, Harvey.
Okay.
Artie?
And tonight, the big annual salute to the music industry, the 30th Grammy Awards in New York.
That's right, and our lifestyle specialist, John Corcoran, is one of those lucky enough to be on hand for the star-studded event. John's live in New York. John?
Hi, gang. How are you? Yeah, the Grammys are history for 1988, and quite a year it was. A lot of surprises, some wonderful performances, Michael Jackson on stage and some others like that. But let's take a look at some of the winners right about now. The first Grammy Awards in the Big Apple since 1981 drew a crowd of rock stars and other celebrities in outfits ranging from the sedate to the slightly outrageous. Highlights of the 3-hour show, as expected, Michael Jackson.
I'm in a New York state of mind.
A tribute to New York and its music.
I've seen all the movie stars in their fancy cars and their limousines.
But of course, the focus of the evening was the winners. Whitney Houston, as expected, for I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Thank you so much from my heart. God bless. Thank you.
In the rock, duo, or group category, the winner was U2 for the Joshua Tree.
We don't see the Joshua Tree as in any way a peak for U2, just a beginning, really.
In the prestigious Album of the Year category, the winner was U2, the Joshua Tree.
And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else than New York City tonight. Thank you.
The song of the year is... And in an upset somewhere out there, written by James Horner, Barry Mann, and Cynthia Weil. And the night's big winner, the biggest category, Record of the Year. The winner was...
Graceland, Paul Simon. Paul Simon, producer.
Poor boys and pilgrims with families, and we are going to Graceland.
Well, that's a bit of a surprise. The album Graceland won last year. The single wins this year. Next year, what? Elvis is Home? Sonny Joe White from Kiss with me. Very briefly, Sonny Joe, how would you analyze this year's Grammy?
Well, I think Graceland pretty much sums the whole thing up. The fact that it's back again, this year's Record of the Year, last year's Album of the Year, the fact that it's back means it was a real slow year musically. And The Midnight Hour was a nominee this year, Wilson Pickett's song. We could have found something much fresher. I think next year we're going to see some real fresh music back in the Grammys. Let's hope so.
All right, they need a big punch next year, and it's been fun reporting, and back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks so much, John. Reporting live from the Big Apple. Artie?
And from the Emmys, or Grammys rather, we go to the Garden, Boston Garden tonight. No big winners on the home front this evening. John Dennis, what was wrong with the Celtics?
If they were giving out awards tonight, nobody wearing green would have gotten anything. Believe me, this is one of the worst things I have seen at Boston Garden in a couple of seasons. That's how bad it was. Come back if you really can stand to see how bad it was at Boston Garden. Sports is next on Night Beat.
Theater, architecture, music, video, film, books, dance, arts, etc. A new section where the arts come to life in the Boston Sunday Globe.